So, you guys, I wanted to share with you a couple of results from the live stream I did a few days ago. A couple of viewers have had questions of me, what do they do if they have a parenting plan where their child is ordered to transition to the other parent during this COVID crisis? And in these particular cases, we're talking about flights from one country to another or long flights. And one thing I can tell you is that if there is not an agreement between you and the other parent, then you must seek direction from the court before you withhold or, before you do anything that's not in line with the court order, because the court can really hold it against you. Thank you, Amy. And thank you, Tenacious Warrior. A court can really hold it against you if you're not following court orders. So I can tell you what I know without sharing too many details about the case I have been involved in. And suffice to just say that it hasn't gone well for me and my client. We had a hearing last week. It did not go well at all. If there are, a lot of states are issuing parenting time guidelines during this COVID crisis. So you need to take a look at those guidelines and see how your case might be impacted by those guidelines. In Arizona, Maricopa County, the courts have issued some COVID parenting time guidelines, and those guidelines say you need to follow the court orders. I understand that the head judge in Maricopa County had a town hall meeting, and he was advising that he thought that these guidelines should be tempered by common sense of the judge, meaning if a child's going to be placed at risk by having to fly for several hours, the judge should consider that. Having said that, in each and every case where there's a different judge, you're going to get somebody with different experiences, viewpoints, biases. That often means that they're going to have reached different results than the judge down the hall. So in a situation that I've recently had, we're traveling from one state to another for a total of 6 to 8 hours in the air. Was at issue, a judge ordered that the child has to travel in that particular case. And I've been talking extensively with other Arizona attorneys and trying to find out what they are experiencing in similar situations. And what's interesting to me is that other judges in similar situations have done the opposite of what the judge did in me and my client's case. A couple of judges that I know of have ordered that the children stay put until this COVID crisis gets a little bit better. So when we talk about discretion of the judges, what that means is judges have a lot of leeway in terms of what they're going to decide. And again, their biases and their life experiences and their experiences with the parties and even the attorney play into that. And you could get really vastly different results, which could impact you in a very negative way or not, depending on what end of it is. There you are. I can't talk. So the long and the short of it is before you do or do not do something that you're ordered to do under your current case orders, you should always be asking the court for direction, even if you think you have a good reason, because if you think you have a good reason, your judge may not agree. As time goes on and when I get the permission of my client, I'm going to share a little more details, but this case is still in progress and we're evaluating different options right now. But I can tell you it didn't go well for him. I feel like I've been getting kicked around the courtroom and beaten up big time. And so I thank you, Raul. You say I always look good. So I get how you feel. I get how you feel when you go to court and you feel like, I'm not getting much respect. The judge isn't listening to me. The judge is rolling her eyes at me or rolling his eyes at me. I'm afraid, or just, got hammered, because I go through it too. And even with all of my experience and even with the tolerance for pain, I have a very high tolerance for pain. I gave birth to my daughter without drugs. Even with my high tolerance for pain, it starts to get to me too. You got to keep your head up. You got to keep moving forward. You got to keep going. You got to keep growing, and you just got to stand tall. So even when you have a bad experience with a court, with the other attorney, with your ex, or just in life in generally, I'd say take your time to rest, to process, to cry, to grieve, to do whatever you need to do. And then you got to get back in the game. And it doesn't mean that you can't still be experiencing the pain or the grief or the questioning of yourself. And it doesn't mean you can't still be working to get better inside. You got to keep going though. So this weekend for me, was all about getting past, getting my butt kicked in court and getting hammered by the judge and figuring out, okay, what are we going to do next? What's the next step? And just moving forward. You know, although my client and I probably took it very personally about what happened in this case, I'm sure the judge has moved on and the judge didn't give it a second thought and the judge has moved on to different cases. So now what we got to figure out is what we're going to do better and how we're going to up our game. So Tenacious Warrior says she has a high tolerance for pain. I know. I think it's good and maybe not good. I don't know. I really don't know if it's a good thing or not. Christine says we had a great experience with our judge, not so much with the ex's attorney, and that happens a lot. You know, so on the COVID front, what I'm hearing is that judges are issuing different types of orders when it comes to children traveling on planes and long distance. And it really is going to depend, and it always depends.